Welcome No DQ Galaxy and happy Halloween. I am, of course, the Wizard of No DQ, Stephen Osborne, and I'm joined as always by the General, Jerry Slaughter. And Jerry, tonight we didn't know what to expect from NXT.
Oh, no, we didn't.
But we were pleasantly surprised.
Like, top to bottom, I think it's the best card we've covered since we actually started this program on YouTube. And yeah, it covered about everything. We had an outstanding women's match. We had a great rematch, which we can't wait to get to that. And then we have announcements being made, just enough video packages, a debut.
We had the continuation of the Aleister Black storyline in multiple ways.
Yes. They covered the Aleister Black story way more than I thought they were going to have time.
I thought they were going to tease us for a while.
Yes, and they actually got a lot taken care of in this episode.
We had 4 matches. The main event wasn't a match. It was supposed to be a match. I mean,
it went completely sideways.
This was sports, entertainment, and wrestling all in one. It was a great episode of NXT.
Yes.
And we will get to that on this episode of What's NXT. Let me tell you, this week, What's NXT was fucking awesome.
Yes.
However, we want to take a moment to plug our show tomorrow. That's NXT UK. Our show is the NXT Party. And tomorrow there will be a change of format. We are going to have a new set. Sort of. I mean, it's a new design. It's going to look different. We are also going to have our first guest on the NXT Party. We're going to have Cindy G, No DQ's very own, the new first woman of No DQ.
Yes.
Cindy G. So she is going to join us for our NXT Party. She's going to help us talk about NXT UK for today, October 31st, Halloween. I also want to get out of the way. I want you guys to leave down in the comments and help me talk this guy into getting a Twitter so that he can tweet with you guys and you guys can follow him and he can follow you and he can talk to more people about wrestling. We want you to talk to us about wrestling. In that vein, NXT Party is not supposed to just be for us and the No DQ contributors like Cindy. We actually want the fans of No DQ.
Everyone.
Before I did a panel, I was a fan of No DQ, and before What's NXT, he was a fan of No DQ. And we want to talk to you guys about wrestling and have you on the panel to Skype with us. So just if you want to look me up on nodq.com/Stephan or find me on Twitter, Stephan R. Osborne. Just let me know if you want to be on the show. In the meantime, tomorrow we are going to have Cindy on the show. We are going to have a new set. And help me get this guy a Twitter. He does have a group on Facebook if you're on Facebook and you want to talk about wrestling or get wrestling memes and whatnot on your feed. It is Armbar, all capital letters, ARMBAR with an exclamation point. And you can talk to him that way or at least communicate through memes.
Yep.
But let's get into the show.
Yes.
Because it felt like a long show, but it was less than an hour and it crammed a lot in.
That's what I've liked about this so far is the fact that yes, there is storyline here, but at the same time it was more action than anything else tonight. We had a little bit of everything when it comes to matches and started off surprisingly with a quick video package of the Aleister Black case, which I didn't think they were going to start covering again until this next week because we had, our main event was supposed to be the War Raiders versus Bobby Fish and Adam Cole, and I figured they'd be plugging that right being at the show, or at least have some sort of lead into that. But no, we go right back into the meat and potato things. Gargano attacked Black, and they just re-showed the reveal, and that led into our first match,
which it seemed to kind of go with the storyline a little bit because they did show in that video package Nikki Cross a lot.
Yeah.
And sure enough, straight out of the video package, I don't even think we got an intro with the NXT music or anything. I don't even think they had time for that.
Oh, no, they did. They did because we started our announced team, and then they just made, and we just went right into the match right after that.
I guess with everything that happened, I just forgot. I didn't think to think about it.
They did that. We were eating.
Yeah, there you go. I was too busy eating my fries.
Yes.
So, yeah, we have our first match, which is Nikki Cross versus, and of course, they don't tell you who she's going to face until she comes out.
I'm not
this guy marked out.
I'm not gonna lie, I marked down hard. Mercedes Martinez. Oh my god. He was familiar with her from Mae Young. I was familiar with her work from prior, naturally, because that's me. Like prior companies and everything else. I'm still relatively new to NXT. WWE Network in general, but yeah, the fact that I'm seeing Nikki Cross versus Mercedes Martinez, I was already calling match of the night.
And it's awful early.
Yeah,
to
it's
call
awful
match
early
of the
match.
night.
It's like
Come to find out,
we're not even 5 minutes into the match.
It was a great match. It was a showcase match. I honestly thought that they were going to feed Nikki Cross to Martinez, but that didn't happen.
No.
I think you felt like they were going to feed Martinez to Nikki Cross
Yeah.
to keep to keep Nikki Cross's momentum going.
Yeah, she got some serious like pop with the fans right now, especially with the whole Aleister Black story and everything. And to kill that kind of momentum by having her lose to, I guess you could say debuting Martinez.
I think she has wrestled on NXT before. Usually, I think last year around the time of the Mae Young Classic, she also ended up, I could be wrong, but
they treat it kind of like it was her first match.
Well, she hasn't been around for a while,
yeah.
So at the very least.
But this match, it just started off great and just went from there. Like, we actually saw something I haven't seen out of Nikki Cross just yet, which was a little bit of chain wrestling right at the beginning of the match with Mercedes.
Well, she kind of addendumed in there with a little bit of...
Yeah, it went from chain wrestling to just Nikki grabbing her by the head and just started smacking it into the ring.
But then right back to chain wrestling.
Yes, it went right back into chain wrestling.
So I think it's become a little bit of a pattern for NXT to start off the show with a showcase match.
Yes.
It's not a jobber match or squash match. It's not an enhancement match. It is two good competitors and somebody's going to come out on top.
Yes. And the match was exactly what I thought it was going to be. There was a lot of brutality involved. It started off scientifically enough, but then the just went into full on just punishment. Because we saw two backdrop drivers out of Mercedes Martinez that just dumped Nikki Cross straight up on her head, and those were brutal looking alone.
Come to find out that seemed to be the first two moves of Mercedes Martinez's 5 moves of doom.
Yes.
This was toward the end of the match, and this is the one part of the match that I distinctly remember. There was a lot of good spots in the match, but I couldn't right now tell you what the moves were. You might have written them down, but I did not.
No, I went right to this as well, because the rest of the match, it was telling a story, but at the same time, it was just building up to these spots right here. And we started off with not one, but two backdrop drivers. I haven't seen a backdrop driver like this out since Takeshi Morishima. And they're just vicious. Nikki landed straight up on her head. I'm not sure. That's where her...
Well, she landed on her neck.
Her neck. Yeah. And then that led right into a release German suplex, I believe. And then I'm not sure. I kind of lost track after that. Cause
it was a release German suplex, and then as Nikki Cross was getting up, I don't know if she came off the ropes or not, but Martinez hit her with a running knee.
Yeah.
And then she was going to follow up the running knee with her fisherman's... It's almost a fisherman's suplex driver. It's kind of like the same angle that she's dropping the backdrop drivers. That's how she drops this fisherman suplex.
Yeah.
And Nikki Cross gets out of it.
Yeah.
And she ends up countering, and she hits her own fisherman's... it's kind of like a crossroads swing. Fisherman's DDT.
Purge.
The Purge. It's a fisherman's swinging neckbreaker.
Yeah. Well,
that's what I call it.
But before that, she even got up to the top rope and did one of her cross bodies, which looked actually.
I think that was earlier in the match.
Yeah, but either way,
you gotta have a cross body in a Nikki Cross match.
Yes, and
she's the Queen of the Cross.
With the Purge,
that would be a good nickname.
Queen of the Cross.
Queen of the Cross.
Yeah. That would be cool.
And because she does a lot of crossbodies anyway, so that double entendre with the phrase.
Yep. We also saw a pretty good spine buster out of Mercedes, but I kind of went past that for a bit because spine busters here are almost like dime a dozen half the time because you see a lot of spine busters. But,
so off of the Purge, we get the pinfall.
Yes.
And Nikki Cross goes over in this match. And I think what we see next is the best you're going to get as far as Nikki Cross showing respect to somebody in the ring in her crazy-ass manner. She's on the mat, sort of
bleeding from the nose.
At some point in this match, her nose busted open.
Yeah.
Or busted. She was bleeding from the nose. It was really cool looking until she wiped it off. But that's semantics.
Yeah.
But she's on the mat staring down Mercedes Martinez, kind of like she does. Really, it's like how Orton gets down on the mat, but she's lower. She's just staring it down. But then she starts smiling.
Yeah, Mercedes had that look on her face, like that, like getting in the room with a rabid Rottweiler or something. She didn't move.
She's like after all of that, you're still like ready to go.
Yeah.
And suddenly, Nikki Cross's sort of sneer turns into a smile, and she mouths or says to Mercedes,
"That was fun."
That was fun. To
fun.
me, that's Nikki Cross's crazy way of showing respect to her opponent.
Yeah, she nodded, and even Mercedes loosened up at that point, and she's like, "Yeah, it was." So I'm actually expecting either another match out of those two, or possibly a team up out of respect at some point. But
have a couple of matches. Maybe Mercedes wins the next, and then you have a
rubber match.
A rubber match halfway into next pay-per-view. That'll be like a little mini pay-per-view match that they do on NXT shows because they got nowhere else to do them.
Or what happens next could actually lead into almost like a tag match type thing too, because
if what Becky Lynch apparently was trying to get done with the women's tag team championships, apparently she had been lobbying for them for years, but her idea was that it was one set of champs and they defend them on all three shows: Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. So we could start seeing some women tag teams forming on NXT.
That would actually make a little bit more sense, especially with the women's division, because there's not really a show showcasing just the women's wrestling. So that'd be neat to actually have it spread over those three, and then that way you're not also oversaturating the company with belts.
True.
Because if you have a women's tag division in each of with belts on each show, that's just too many belts.
The most that you could have would be 4 or 5 teams.
Yes.
And the monotony of matches that you would see with that would be horrible. It would be almost as bad, if not worse, than what we're seeing with Raw and SmackDown now, and just the same tag teams going at it every week for no reason.
Yeah. So that actually changed it up a lot, because you have different styles, different blends, and then more of a chance of actually just seeing something, a matchup you just really haven't seen before. Like each week there could be potentially a different tag team coming up, or just a pop-up title match anywhere. So I really like that idea.
Well, you say coming up, and what I was going to say is, even if they don't extend the women's tag division or the tag team titles to NXT, you would still want to tag up in NXT, so that when you get called up as a tag team, and you can go right into the fray for the women's tag team championships.
We're saying tag team a lot.
I mean, look at the Iconics, or formerly the Iconic Duo in NXT.
Yeah,
they were basically a team there, and probably one of the reasons they got called up when they did is because of the expected women's tag team championship belts.
Yep.
So it just makes sense, even if you're on NXT and you can't vie for the women's titles, you can still tag up and be prepared.
Yep, and get more synchronized with your partner, and also be able to test the waters of the tag team itself. So yeah, that would be brilliant.
So I think that's a good possible outcome for whatever show of respect came out of the end of this match.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of want to move on because we're already 15 minutes in this video. At the end of this match, Candice LeRae comes out.
Yes.
And this is where the Aleister Black storyline kind of threads off in a different direction, but still stays within the hour-long show that this is.
I'm about to say, I mentioned that like right towards the beginning of the match.
Yeah, he predicted Candice LeRae was going to come out. For some reason, he predicted this.
Well, I predicted it because they're doing something in this, like the commentators were actually doing something in this match that they don't normally do. And I think it's the fact that it's like Morrow's not around at this point, but they got sidetracked and weren't focusing on the action in the ring. They were focusing more on the Aleister Black story. And that's just something I'm not really used to with this commentating team. They're usually locked into a match and nothing else in the world exists until after the match is over or even before the match.
They respect the match. If that's not one reason to watch NXT over watching Raw and SmackDown, I don't know what is. It's definitely it feels like they help you get invested in the match because they're not always talking about stuff that's going on outside of the feud in the ring.
Yes.
But in this case, they started talking about the Aleister Black, and I guess it's partially carryover, but it was to the point to where when I believe it was Vic Joseph started calling the match again, I was like, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh man, there's a match going on, guys. And I think about watching Raw and SmackDown, and it doesn't bother me when I watch them because I'm used to it.
Yeah.
But you totally called it, and you were like, I wouldn't be surprised if Candice LeRae comes out at the end of the match. And I'm like, that's a weird prediction, but okay. And sure fucking enough.
Yep. She comes out, gets all up in Nikki Cross's business.
Which is not a smart place to be.
No.
Nikki Cross smacks the taste out of the mouth of men wrestlers. So what is she going to do to Candice LeRae? She's going to smack the new black lipstick off her face.
Yeah, Candice LeRae comes out with a new hairdo, looking all gothy.
You know what? Johnny Gargano was in all black last week, and you mentioned that.
Yeah.
And didn't you say, what if Candice LeRae started dressing in all black too?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you said that too. This guy is calling NXT without even realizing he's making predictions and getting it right. So she comes out with a new hairstyle. Her hair is darker, still kind of blondish, but she's got bangs and she's got black lipstick on. And I'm like, Nikki Cross is liable to smack the black off your lips.
Yeah. And Candice shoots off her mouth about, naturally the whole Gargano situation, defending her husband.
She's blaming Nikki.
And she's blaming Nikki for this whole thing.
Like Nikki telling Aleister Black that it was Gargano makes any difference in the world. Because even if she was lying, it was Gargano that came out to the ring last week and super kicked Black.
Mm-hmm.
So, this has nothing to do with Nikki anymore. Like, Gargano turned himself in.
Nikki makes her way back up the stage. And right as she's turning off the stage, she starts walking backwards. And in comes Aleister Black.
In comes Aleister Black, and Nikki Cross proceeds to back up out the way. And I told him, I'm like, he's not there for Nikki Cross.
Oh, that was completely evident and then he just turns his attention right down the ramp to Candice, makes a straight line right down to her, gets in the ring.
To her credit, she is playing the ambiguous role.
Yep.
She did not leave the ring. She waited for him to come down. She knew he was coming for her.
But that's the other thing, though. She didn't really look scared by the whole thing at all.
Right.
Which, credit to her toughness and everything. But at the same time, I think she even believes that Aleister wasn't gonna crush her as much as he wanted to just destroy Gargano at that point.
He has no reason to touch her, let alone the fact that she's a female. So he's not gonna hit her anyway. Was it Velveteen Dream that got slapped by Nikki Cross the other week? And he just left. And
then Ciampa got the microphone slapped out of his hand.
And he just reached for the mic.
Yep.
So, she knows that it's not going to come violent toward her or nothing, so she's got no reason to leave. But I think it's more, she's trying to play up that she thinks Johnny Gargano is innocent.
Yeah.
But for some reason she changes her whole get-up and now she's in all black. I can't wait to see her wrestle, see what she wrestles in.
Yeah.
That, I think, would make the difference.
Yeah. And then you have her and Aleister have a quick talk. You really don't hear a lot of what's said. because either the microphones aren't working as well as they were the other day, or there's...
I don't think either one of them had a mic in their hand.
No, I mean like under the stage or around the area.
I think usually that's the camera mic, the one that points out and kind of zones in on whatever you're focusing on.
Yeah, because they have a short talk, and Alistair pretty much tells her Gargano's time is more or less in NXT is pretty much up.
Well, you can tell what the conversation was, because she tells him that Gargano is not there.
Yeah.
He's not here tonight, which I predicted a couple of nights ago. I'm like, because he's like, are they going to talk about it? I'm like, well, if anything happens, Gargano's not going to be there.
Yeah.
Because Aleister Black sure as hell will be there. He'll be looking for Gargano. I was like, if we see Johnny Gargano, maybe it'll be next week. I was like, it'll be like an interview with him at his home, where Aleister Black's not going to be. Something like that. So he wasn't there. And yeah, Aleister Black tells her, basically, I guess, to tell your husband, his future in NXT is gone.
Yeah, he might as well just kiss any chance of advancement goodbye. It's just not going to happen.
Or maybe that's a prelude to Johnny Gargano getting called up to SmackDown and going to the Jobber Squad. Or, we're getting called up to 205 Live.
Oh.
Although I think they're starting to disperse 205 Live. I think 205 Live is going to go away soon.
Yeah.
Because they've already got the Lucha House Party wrestling on. I think it was Smack, or maybe it was Raw. I can't remember. It's forgettable. But back to NXT, we get a recap of the Mighty versus the Street Profits from about a month ago.
Yeah.
We reviewed this match, and the Mighty won with a cloverleaf jackknife roll-up, which was beautiful. I had never seen that kind of jackknife roll-up before.
Yeah.
And they went for it again in this upcoming match. Basically, this is the Street Profits trying to get their necklaces and their solo cup with the repainted NXT logo on it. And I'm like, can't they just buy another solo cup? Or a whole pack of them?
It's the premise
and
of
even
the thing.
buy new necklaces, even bigger and better ones, because they're getting paid now, right?
Yeah.
So,
but I think it's more street cred than anything.
It's the principle of the matter.
Yeah, it's like that could be the first one they've actually owned.
Give us back our cup, damn it.
Yeah, pretty much.
So we get what I would have thought. If you'd have laid this card out for me on paper and said we were going to start with Nikki Cross versus Mercedes Martinez, because even I have seen Martinez in the Mae Young Classic. In fact, just the other night, I watched her first round victory. So I would have been excited for that match. And knowing NXT's track record for first matches, I would have been like, that's going to be a good one. And then you just said this match, which is a rematch from a couple of weeks ago, which was a good match, but nothing stellar. This was fucking stellar.
Yes.
This was a great match.
I told him, like, the first one kind of established the story. It set up what was going to be a potential feud, but it could have easily been a throwaway one. It really could have been.
Yeah, I thought this was going to be the dull match of the night, because we knew we still had the match between the War Raiders and the Undisputed Era, Adam Cole and the returning
Fish.
Bobby Fish.
Yeah.
Bobby Fish's first match back. We knew we were going to have that match, and we also knew we were going to have the debut of Matt Riddle.
Yes.
In a match. So I'm like, this is going to be, kind of the dull match. It was not the dull match. It was a really good match, a great match.
Right.
It really showcased the Street Profits.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We started off with Dawkins and Shane Thorne in the okay. What was his name? Yeah, it was Shane Thorne.
The Mighty. Yeah.
Yeah. We started off with Shane Thorne and Angelo Dawkins in the match, and
no, wait. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, right at the get-go, Dawkins looks like he's about to
throw that knockout punch.
Knockout punch Dawkins again. Like
that was the first of a few throwbacks to the match they had last month.
Yes, and that was the first move he went for, and Dawkins automatically just drops to the ground and rolls back. He's like, no, not this time.
Yeah, during their match last month, that was like the first 8 or 10 seconds of the match. Angelo throws a punch and just knocks whichever one of the mighty.
It was Shane Thorne.
He knocks him almost out cold.
Yeah.
So that's a throwback to the match, and he just ducks out of the way, gets up under the ropes. And this starts out a really good match. Obviously, these two teams have been working together a lot. But like I said, it really showcases the Street Profits. Because, what's his name? Fuck, I'm so sorry that I keep forgetting these names, but
Montez
there's so many.
Ford?
Yeah, Montez Ford looks amazing. This guy is going to be a great singles wrestler.
Yes.
But for now, he is in the ring looking like he can do anything off those ropes. And over the ropes. And through the ropes. And fucking into the ropes. And didn't they do a hip toss into the turnbuckle?
Yes.
Like, this match was amazing. Ford does an arm drag where he holds onto the arm, he jumps onto the top rope, stands damn near vertical on the top rope to come off in the springboard into this arm drag. And that's just one of the things in this match.
Yes.
I think you wrote down several moves. I didn't write down any. I should have.
First we have, like, I'm going to go ahead and throw this out. Like I was talking about a spine buster earlier for Mercedes Martinez. Nick Miller throws a hell of a one, too.
Yeah, I think Mercedes was like a short spine buster. This one was like powerful. I think he threw two of them in this match.
Yes, he threw some great spine busters. But then you have the tope from Ford to the outside.
Oh, the Tope Con Hero, I think.
Yes.
The diving over the top rope into a front flip onto both of the mighty. And just his distance is amazing.
He's very reminiscent to me of like Shelton Benjamin when he was really starting to break out on his own, because the dude can fly. He's got like the athletic prowess. He's just awesome to watch.
Well, just the two moves that stand out, the highlights that are always there, are him running up the ladder in, I guess it was a Money in the Bank ladder match.
Yeah.
Him running up the ladder and clotheslining I think it was Jeff Hardy. It was somebody. And then where he takes Shawn Michaels' super kick off of the springboard.
From the other side of the ring, yes.
So that just shows you the two separate sides of him selling and him performing moves. That he's just fucking amazing. Because I've seen people try to run up those ladders like that, and they don't get the rungs right, and it can look really bad, and it can end really bad. But yeah, fucking.
I'm gonna call this like one of the top 3 moves of the night. That Falcon Arrow from Thorne.
Yeah.
The Thorne just throws this amazing release Falcon Arrow, and it just lands beautifully. It's perfectly executed.
Well, it was almost a release Falcon Arrow.
I was about to say the Mighty just were incredible in this match.
They didn't. Other than that, they didn't really have a lot of standout moves, but they look good. But I think the match a month ago was to showcase them as heels and their heel tactics to victory. This was to showcase the Street Profits, because they look good. And even what's his name? The other Street Profit,
Angelo Dawkins.
Angelo Dawkins. I'll remember these names someday.
That's why I wrote them down.
Okay. I wrote them down too, but it's all blurry and I can't make it out because of we've got the orange lighting because it's Halloween.
Yes.
I worked hard on this lighting. I hope you guys appreciate it. We'll be back to the regular lighting and the regular infinite us going back through all our episodes on the screen next week. In the meantime, this match ended with one of the best frog splashes I've ever seen. Whoa, I'm sorry. I forgot the avalanche.
Yes, the avalanche Tower of Doom from the Mighty. That's what I was saying.
It was a standing. It's not where one of them climbs up the ropes, goes for a vertical suplex, and then the other one gets up under him. No. Angelo picks up Ford. And then takes him over there to grab him. And then power bombs him and into the vertical suplex. Wow,
Nick Miller.
Wow, it was great looking. They didn't get the pinfall off of it. They got the pinfall off of the frog splash.
Yeah.
So okay, so everybody's on the outside except for who was it that took the fall? Was it Thorne?
Thorne. It was Thorne. We had Thorne and Ford as the legal men in the match.
So Thorne gets up on the second rope to lean over towards the apron to try and get Ford
back in. Yeah.
Back in the ring. So Ford gets kind of like just a kick to the face that knocks Thorne off of the middle rope in a fashion where he does a flip to land. And then he immediately goes to the corner and does a springboard 5-star frog splash.
Yes, this was
easily
a
5-star frog splash.
Yes, this was very reminiscent of the Rob Van Dam one, but what was beautiful about it was a springboard. Like, he actually was able to balance himself enough, and the amount of air this boy
The air and distance.
The air and distance was...
Let alone the angle, let alone everything else. It was a great match. And I really wish that had been the main event.
That spelled the end right there, and, like...
I hope that's not the end of this feud. I hope we get one more blow-off match. I hope we get a rubber match.
Yes.
Because I want to see them go for maybe a 15-20 minute match.
The only thing that may solidify it to the point where they're saying it's like, okay, this feud is over, which would be a horrible, horrible thing to do right now, is the fact that the Street Profits got their stuff.
Yeah, they got their chains and they got their black solo cut.
So you have Montez Ford out there,
so they can move on. And I said at the end of this match, and I still agree with that statement, that at this point, based on that match, the Street Profits are ready to be called.
They are ready, yes.
So that would be cool to see, but I would much prefer to see one more match. I want to see a rubber match. I want to see a blow-off. And something that's longer than... this was probably an 8 to 10 minute match. Great 8 to 10 minutes, but I want to see something longer.
That's the thing.
Story.
I could actually see them in a good... at least have one NXT... tag title run.
And that's where they would be able to have that kind of match, because it would be NXT TakeOver. Because it's not likely that they would have their third match on a TakeOver.
And, like, from there you could even throw in ladders, which I think would be an awesome testament to both teams, is having a tag team ladder match between whoever... They're, like, pretty much the mighty.
I could completely see it with Montez. I could completely see it with Ford, but I don't know about the rest of the three of them. I haven't seen
Dawkins,
enough.
I can see doing some massive power moves.
With the ladder?
With the ladder, yes.
Maybe. But I haven't seen enough of the mighty doing anything aerial for me
I think if anything, there'll be more tag maneuvers than anything else, because that's what I've noticed a lot with the mighty. Was a lot of their moves.
They're very fluid. Well, we mentioned at the beginning of this match that another thing about NXT, that's better than Raw and SmackDown in the majority. The tag teams look like motherfucking tag teams.
Yes,
they look like they are paired together. Their outfits match.
And
they're usually cool looking.
The mighty have their logo and everything on theirs, and
same colors, same everything.
Yeah. It's very...
They are tag teams.
Yes.
They look alike. It's not hard, WWE.
They're not just hastily thrown together for a feud or whatnot. It's because these two have worked together exclusively and it shows. And it's that kind of unity and whatnot that makes you get more solidly behind the tag team and actually makes you root for them to get the belt.
I would call this the match of the night.
Yes.
And that's hard, because all of the matches tonight were good.
Yes.
If not great. So, before we get to the next match, we end up with an interview with William Regal. Surprise, surprise.
Regal's office.
Surprise, surprise. He is standing outside his office with the door shut. And you know it's his office. It has to be his office because it has his name in a placard on the door. And like I said, it's probably the janitor's closet. There's nothing back there. They just they needed his office for something else, so they moved all the stuff out, and so now they just used the door.
I'm sorry. I think it's not even an office back there. It's some sort of broom closet or something, and it's like, excuse me, I need to go.
Somebody got a new secretary or something. You know, they needed an office. Who knows?
Yeah.
So we have Regal outside of his office, and I don't know the name of the interviewer lady. Kathy Kelly, maybe.
Probably.
But she's asking him, where is Gargano? Or is that what she asked him?
Yeah, she initially asked his thoughts on the whole Aleister Black case, and he's got no idea where Gargano is. But this also leads into something we never got answered this last week.
Yeah, I was distracted by his shirt. I'm a fan of orange. Like anything I can find that's orange is orange.
Yeah.
I get. And so he had, his three-piece suit on. Everything's black except his shirt, his button-up shirt, is this blood orange, and it was great. I love that color. So I'm distracted by that. So I'm like, fuck, what are they talking about? I don't know. But then I hear him. He's finally announcing, as he said, what we didn't get to hear last week.
Because Aleister Black showed up and tore in everyone.
Yeah. At that point, we didn't care anymore.
Yeah, we never found out who Ciampa's going to face at War Games.
But we know now.
Yes, we know now. And it's going to be Velveteen Dream. So it's going to be, we have ourselves Ciampa versus Velveteen Dream for the NXT title. But then, naturally, Aleister shows up. And starts talking.
Well, not naturally. This is not naturally. Because we just saw him a few minutes ago, and he was in his ring gear, and, he looked like, what he normally looks like. He thought he was coming out for a match or something, because he's like, why isn't he in his ring gear? I'm like, well, dude, he's there, and I've never seen him come out without his ring gear on. He's like, well, what about last week? I was like, he was showing up. Yeah. So he wasn't going to have his ring gear on yet, but he always puts on his ring gear.
He always looks like he's ready
to fight. So he's not wrestling. They're going to save Aleister Black for something special. Like a hell of a main event in a couple of weeks or something, or his match that Regal makes next.
Yeah, I was going to say, Regal said he already had it in mind after the events of that last week. It's going to be Gargano versus Black at the takeover as well.
Well, no, what he says is that Black is going to get his pound of flesh.
Yes,
and that always takes me back to a 10 Years song from the Autumn Effect album. But yeah, the pound of flesh. For Paradise.
Yes.
Aleister Black is going to get Gargano in the ring at War Games, and I wouldn't be surprised if that ends up being the main event.
That wouldn't shock me, or at least something that's going to almost overshadow the main event, which is, I guess.
Well, you've got War Games.
Yeah.
And we'll get into that later. You've got War Games. You'll have the NXT Championship match with Ciampa and Velveteen Dream. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's going to be like the third match out of 5 is going to be the championship match. Then you're going to have War Games, and then you're going to have Aleister Black versus Johnny Gargano in a blood match, in a feud match.
Yeah.
That's probably how it's going to go. And it's been kind of normal to see the NXT title relegated to the second spot, the second to last match, the semi-main event.
Yeah.
And it's been fine because it's always been Ciampa versus Gargano. It's going to be weird to see it as third from the top, underneath War Games, underneath the main event, which I think is going to be Black versus Gargano.
Yep.
In the meantime,
Lars isn't happy.
Yeah, Lars is not happy. They show Lars in the back, and he thinks he should be the number 1 contender. And he says that
he goes all juggernaut with these. He's like, I'm gonna rip Velveteen Dream in half. So he won't even be ready so he won't even be able to compete at War Games.
Yeah, I'll take him out, and then I'll get his spot. I'll take his spot from him.
Yes.
Is basically what he says, and then proceeds to like throw some stuff around. Although he takes this plastic tote, throws it down, and the way it busts, I'm like, yeah, man. If he's not actually pissed, he's really good at acting like he's pissed.
Yep.
Because I couldn't imagine throwing one of those down and it shattering like that.
Well.
Anyway, next we get the debut.
The
debut of Matt Riddle. And we get to find out who he's going to face because they come out first. We have Luke Menzies, who I've seen wrestle a few times. And, yes, I said Luke Menzies. Spelled with a Z. But still... maybe there's international viewers out there, but I think most people in the U.S. know that in our dialect, in our language, Menzies happens to be a euphemism for something, and it just kind of off-puts me that his trunks or his singlet is black and blood red. So maybe he's comically aware of his name and he just doesn't care anymore. But I thought that was funny. Other than that, that's the only funny thing about this match.
Yeah. You have Matt Riddle, who's pretty much, you can't let his laid-back surfer persona fool you. He'll come out to the ring to his bro music, and he looks like the most relaxed guy on the planet. He's got his flip-flops he wears out to the ring, his hoodie. He's pounding fists with the crowd as he's going along. He's very, very mellow. But he's got that, He's got that charisma to him. He really does.
He connects with the crowd, and that's on his debut match. Which there are a lot of guys that'll debut and connect with the crowd by name alone.
Such a smart crowd.
Yeah, it's definitely a indie crowd. Yeah. These are the people in Florida that live close there that really love wrestling, and they go to this all the time. So they know all these guys. They know all the indie guys. They're hardcore of hardcore fans. This was a great match because Menzies is, I don't know how established he is on NXT, but he's been around. And so I was making a comment that if Matt Riddle won this, technically it would be an upset because this is Matt Riddle's debut match. And whatever momentum he has coming in, he doesn't really have in NXT. I mean, I know they show video packages and whatnot with companies that they have good working relationships with of some of this talent that comes from the indie scene. But, I mean, this is still your first match. So, technically, I think Menzies, or not Menzies, but Matt Riddle is the underdog in the match.
Yeah.
Even though you wouldn't know it by watching the match, that either one of them was an underdog. Honestly, they both look really good.
The second the bell rung, that mellowness kind of went away, and the mixed martial arts / jiu-jitsu style of Matt Riddle just came into play through the entire match. You had lots of strong kicks, which he wrestles barefoot.
Yeah, this is my first experience seeing a Matt Riddle match, and I was wondering going in, like, in this day and age, why wrestle barefoot? Because we saw Rusev try it, and Rusev was successful and fine for a couple of years, and then look what happened. He didn't have support for his ankles and his feet, and he ended up breaking his foot and missing a lot of action. Yep. He lost a lot of momentum and push, and when he came back, it really wasn't the same until Rusev Day, and you've seen how they've treated that.
Yeah.
But now he wears boots.
Yeah. But, like, my mentality is, like, any wrestler I've ever really seen go barefoot's either been Samoan or Hawaiian. So, and anybody else, it ends up in disaster, kind of like you just said.
Well, it looks weird, but it wasn't long into the match that I realized why he goes barefoot. Because he can do with his feet what guys like Ric Flair can do with their hands with a chop.
Yes.
And make it echo through the crowd. He can kick somebody in the chest like Daniel Bryan does. And instead of just making it look like it hurts, it sounds like it really slaps.
That sting. Like, I actually, like, when you get that kind of connection and you actually feel the sting sitting there, watch the match, that's when you know you have a good kick. And he laid some pretty awesome ones on Menzies. And we saw a lot of jiu-jitsu type holds, a lot of maneuvers like that, and rounded out with the jiu-jitsu abdominal stretch.
Yeah, he's got a wicked abdominal stretch that's on the mat. The way I put it is, it's like if Perry Saturn put on an abdominal stretch. Which to me, Perry Saturn was obviously the namesake, but the king of the Rings of Saturn. Nobody put it on better, and it looked like it really hurt. Yeah, that's how the match ended, and
with the bro mission.
Well, we knew it was going to be an enhancement match. It was going to make Matt Riddle look good in his debut, and he was going to win. I underlined his name before the match even started. We knew he was going to win, but he won, and it was a good match. And it wasn't even the dull match of the night. It was, and Matt Riddle puts on a hell of a show. Just a couple of the moves that he does. He went to do a monkey flip, but then in mid flip, he releases his legs and comes down, holds on to one arm, and brings it down into a cross arm bar. And I'm like, whoa. Because I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what kind of wrestler he was or nothing. I definitely didn't expect him to do some submission moves like that. And I was blown away.
Yeah, he's quick to lock on a submission, and he looks like it's gonna be a lot of that and a lot of, like, just stunning kicks out of him. It's very reminiscent to Jiri when he was first starting out, because you had a lot of kicks and a lot of great looking, or unorthodox, I guess you could say, submission holds. You would think a lot of it's MMA, but then it's like you have a lot more jiu-jitsu, like I said. I like saying jiu-jitsu. I'm sorry. It's a fun word.
Well, this was a great match, and I look forward to seeing Matt Riddle in the ring again. I was looking for Cassius Ohno to interfere, but I guess they're saving that for another night.
Yeah.
But I definitely look forward to a match between Matt Riddle and Cassius Ohno. Now, before we move on, I did want to mention something I noticed during that match. The referee happened to be Jessica Carr.
Yeah.
Which, well, we saw her ref 2 matches at Evolution, and we'll get into Evolution in just a moment. But this might be the first time I've seen her referee a men's match.
Yeah.
Which, good for her, good for them, good for everybody. Like, that's how it should be. Like, she's a ref. She should be able to call any match. Shouldn't just be for women's match. But that's a good way to introduce her as a women's match ref. And then now she's just a ref.
Yeah. And it's kind of like the only other female referee I ever saw was, I think, a little past the Attitude Era with Jacqueline, when she was like a referee for a while. But even then, I think she only predominantly did the Divas matches or the women's division at that point. They still,
I think that was a clear marketing ploy.
Yeah,
it was a PR stunt. You know, have her as a ref for a little while. I don't remember clearly, but I'm sure it started as her as a special guest referee, probably to screw somebody over or something. Who knows? But it sounds like at late Attitude Era, early Ruthless Aggression Era stuff to me.
Yeah, that's pretty much what happened. Like, I think she was injured or some shit, and she ended up refereeing a whole bunch of matches. But yeah, this is the first time I've actually seen a female referee actually referee a male match.
I hope that this is just testing the waters so that she's just a ref like every other ref, and they're going to move her up to the main roster very soon. Yeah. And they are going to find more women like her to do the same. Mm-hmm. Because I don't know how many matches you guys have seen her ref, but she is a decent ref, if not a really good ref. She actually gets into it vocally more than a lot of the men do, to where you usually understand the story that they're telling in the ring better, because you can hear where the ref's attention is. Is the ref going for a 10 count on the outside? You know, is the ref going for a pinfall here or here? You know, is the ref asking the person that's in a rest hold if they're going to give up? And
you can see a lot of sympathy in her face, especially with the stronger submission holds and whatnot.
But she's good at her job. I wouldn't call her great, because I don't really know if I've ever known a great referee. I don't think referees are meant to look great. They're meant to look competent and to make the match look good. Or help the match look great. But
sometimes they have to call the match in general. They have to know the match just as well as the wrestlers do. So, or at least know, like, ring positioning and everything else.
Well, their direct communication to the boss, well, sort of indirect. I think it goes from their earpiece to the timekeeper, and then the timekeeper is hardwired to the boss.
Yeah.
So that's what I've heard on various reports, that's how it's done. I think there's a news article on NoDQ.com about that. You can probably backlog that and look it up. But yeah, I just wanted to mention Jessica Carr because it seems weird, because that's one role that I think naturally any gender plays fine into, is referee. Yeah. Like, it's weird that you only see, like, maybe it's something that only males want to do. Like, I guess if women are into wrestling and want to get into it, they want to be wrestlers, they want to be superstars, and they don't want to be refs, and none of them think, hey, it'd be cool. But the guy you were talking about, the other NXT ref, the guy that's a former wrestler.
Drake Wirtz. Yeah. Formerly Drake Younger, on the independent scene, multi-time champion here and overseas in Germany at WXW. And he's a hybrid wrestler, hardcore, aerialist, mat wrestling, covers it all, but he actively retired and went actually into just refereeing for NXT. And has had nothing but success doing that, and looks like he's having a grandiose time doing it. But
yeah, he is one of the more animated referees.
Yeah,
and I'm sure that comes with the territory, because he was probably animated as a wrestling character.
I'm gonna have to show you some of his old Combat Zone wrestling matches.
I just got myself into an hour or two after this video.
Yeah, pretty much. You haven't seen him operate a weed whacker. But yeah, we'll get to that at some point. But this leads right into what he's just talking about, the Evolution match for the NXT Women's Championship.
Now, I made him watch the match. He didn't watch the pay-per-view. He
Nope.
doesn't have the network. I have the network. That's why we watch it here and then do the video. And I made him watch the match. He's like, well, we can. It doesn't matter. They're not even going to cover it. I'm like, they might. And it would be good to have seen the match, because if they do show anything, it's going to be those still images with the background music and whatnot. I'm like, besides, it was a really good match. You're going to be glad that I made you watch it. And so we watched that first before we watched this week's NXT. Mm-hmm. I guess since they're pre-taped, there was no way to do any Halloween thing. But honestly, even though it is Halloween, and that's today is when it officially was available to watch, WWE would most definitely do something for Halloween. They did on Tuesday when it was, the day before Halloween.
Yeah.
And they still did the Trick or Street fight.
Yeah.
I think I said that right.
Trick or Street.
It was so refreshing to watch wrestling on a holiday and not have some sort of gimmick match.
Yes.
So I just wanted to mention that. But yeah, they go to an interview after Evolution, or at least during Evolution after the match for the NXT Women's Championship.
One of the WWE.com exclusives, pretty much.
Yeah, you can go to WWE.com, or you can go to NoDQ.com and get all the news in one spot. You could choose whichever you want. Me personally, I go to NoDQ.com, obviously. Yeah. This was an interview with Shayna Baszler about winning the championship, and she made reference to what she said before about losing the title. She beat herself, or she lost, and Kairi Sane didn't win, and now she figured it out. She figured out a way to beat her, and obviously it's to become a better heel and to have others help you.
Yes.
And that's what I told him in the truck the other night. I'm like, Shayna Baszler is just, she went to heel training camp and learned how to form a posse to help you win in important matches, and she got her title back.
Yeah.
Well, then we see Kairi Sane come up like she's going to do something about it, and she's still kind of shaken from the match. And you got one guy, holding her back. One guy.
The guy looks smaller than her.
Yeah, and he's just trying to calmly talk her down, and she's so mad at Shayna, and Shayna Baszler just kind of holds the title, and she's like, "It's over. It's over. This is no longer your championship. It's mine." And Kairi Sane breaks down crying.
Yep.
And
she was still, we'll go ahead and say it, choked up from being, kicking the clutch into La La Land. So
now I don't see, for some reason, I don't see Kairi Sane getting her title rematch.
No, I see her asking for it, and Baszler just flat out telling her no. So
I would think that would be something that William Regal could step in on and force it, but maybe somehow they just don't reference it, and the idea of her getting a rematch goes away. Or maybe they say that they put into the match clause for that one that there was no rematch, that this was it. But if Shayna lost, well, they should have done that beforehand. But anyway, that's where WWE logic comes into, and I don't want to speculate because they haven't said anything about it yet.
Yeah.
But I'm hopeful that we're going to see a new number one contender.
Yes.
And that leads us into the next segment, if you will. It was sort of a short video package for Lacey Evans.
Yes.
And then a graphic that says Lacey Evans will be here next week live. They stress live. And so to me, this is not going to be a match.
No. It'll probably be a short promo in some way, shape, or form of her, I won't say new agenda, because it's been well documented that she's all about the whole women's wrestling movement, but bringing dignity and class back to women's wrestling.
So she's going to want to bring dignity and class back to the women's championship.
Yes. So that's going to be interesting.
Now, here's where I interject, because last week we saw somebody else talking about wanting to be in the women's championship picture. That was the EST of NXT, the Undefeated. Say it with me. Undefeated. That's Bianca Belair. and it was sort of an aside. It was the camera zooming in on a private conversation-ish. I don't know, whatever. Obviously, it's supposed to be taped and put on TV. But
yeah.
She wants a title match, too. So what I see happening is Lacey Evans coming out, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
And she's all about the women's right. And she's going to use her women's right on Shayna Baszler and beat Shayna Baszler. And then the EST, Bianca Belair is going to come out and she's going to be like, well, I'm undefeated. You're not. Even though, really, I think both of them have the same amount of momentum going right now.
Yeah.
Because NXT has made Lacey Evans look really good as of late. So, that's going to be a match we're going to see in 2 or 3 weeks' time to probably determine the number one contender for the NXT Women's Championship. I'm looking forward to that. I hope that is what happens. In the meantime, we go from that video package into another announcement for next week.
Yep. We found out Lacey Evans is going to be speaking out, but then right after that, we find that the Lars versus Velveteen Dream match has been made for next week. So that to me already makes it an awesome show. The fact that we're going to get Lacey Evans there, doing God knows what, and then we're going to have a feud that I'm going to say started just a couple weeks ago and is now, it's going to be great. It's going to be a wonderful match. It could easily be the number one contenders match for the belt for after, Gargano versus, Ciampa versus,
No, it's Velveteen Dream.
This
could have been the number one contendership match
Yeah.
for the men's championship, but Regal has already announced that Velveteen Dream is the number one contender. But this is going to be the number one contender, Velveteen Dream, against Lars Sullivan.
Yeah.
So we're going to see that next week, and I don't see that match ending in a pinfall or submission. Maybe it never even starts. That is not going to be a satisfying ending of a match necessarily. I'm guessing Ciampa maybe interferes, or just Sullivan does things that get him disqualified.
No, if anything, I see Ciampa interfering, but at the same time, my hope, beyond hope, is that actually, Ciampa interferes and screws up that match. Riddle gets pissed off enough to make it a triple threat match at TakeOver.
Yeah, but it's not a match for the number one contendership. This is just a match. And Lars Sullivan said he is going to find Velveteen Dream, and in this case, he gets him in the ring, and he's going to tear him in half and make it to where he can't be number one contender, and Lars Sullivan can step in. And that's why I'm saying I don't think this match is going to have a pinfall. He's just going to go in there and try and beat up on Velveteen Dream until he gets disqualified.
So you think it's going to be thrown out?
No way.
Either referee stoppage or the fact that he won't break a 10
Look, we have seen some great matches end in satisfying pinfall or submission finishes that we didn't think was going to happen because this is NXT.
Yeah.
But, it is NXT, but we do have a pay-per-view coming up shortly.
Yes.
It's within a month and a half. No, it's within a month. We have Survivor Series coming up. And there's an NXT takeover in LA before Survivor Series. In fact, in LA, there's a no DQ meetup. Go to nodq.com/LA if you want to attend. But yeah, at this point, I don't see that being a match that's not main event. Like, for that to have a satisfying ending, it needs to be the main event. So maybe, a triple threat match.
Yeah.
For the title, but this isn't a number one contenders. So I feel like Lars Sullivan is just going to come out and do as much damage as possible, get disqualified, but then leave Velveteen Dream in a heap.
Yeah, that could happen as well.
I'm really hoping Ciampa doesn't interfere and this somehow turns into a triple threat match. That doesn't make sense. Now, if Lars Sullivan wins clean,
show up at the announce booth.
If Lars Sullivan wins clean, then you can make an argument that now, he should be considered as a contender, but then you would still have to have a match to either transfer number one contendership from Velveteen Dream to Lars Sullivan, or have a match where maybe he faces Aleister Black. Or not Aleister Black, Ciampa, and gets somehow. I don't know. They should have just made this for the #1 contendership.
Yeah, they should have.
They should have just made this like that. I don't know. Anyway, but we don't know how the match is going to... Again, trying to predict things and getting mad about it. Problem with that is, usually when I predict things, I predict like WWE would. And that usually pisses me off. So what we learn next is that we're having another match. And it's not the main event. It's not the Undisputed Era versus the War Raiders.
It's another match.
It's Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch versus who knows who. So I'm like, there's 15 minutes or less left in this show.
Yeah.
And I'm like, either this match is going to be really quick and out of the way, or we are not getting a main event match. And to spoil us, spoiling ourselves, or spoil you guys for the end of this, we actually got spoiled. When I went to turn the show on, it actually, for some reason, started out at the very end of it. And so we got this final view of, well, I won't spoil it for you guys. If you haven't watched the show, if you only watch us, I'll save that for the main event. And yes, that will be the main event that we rate. Sad to say. Or I thought it was going to be sad to say.
Yeah.
Who knows? But in the meantime, we had Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch versus Humberto Carrillo and Raul Mendoza. And I've seen these guys wrestle, but I don't think I've seen them wrestle as a tag team. I think this was your first experience with
Mendoza.
All of them, wasn't it? Have you seen Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch wrestle yet?
No, Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch, they did a return match. And Danny Burch has another match tomorrow night on NXT UK.
Yeah.
Just by himself.
Oh, plug for NXT party.
Yeah.
Join us tomorrow for a spot of NXT.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Again, we're going to have a new set, and we're going to have Cindy G herself joining us. So don't miss it. Otherwise, this was what I thought was going to be a really dead match.
Mm-hmm.
Again, underestimating. This was a great match, and not for the reason I thought it was going to be.
It was just fantastic. It really showed what Carrillo and Mendoza could actually do. They pulled off some phenomenal moves in this match. Mendoza was just a ball of fire right at the beginning.
Yeah, they blew me away.
Yeah, it was weird because Mendoza had complete control of the match for the early going. They tagged in Carrillo, and Carrillo automatically just kind of starts messing things up for them. It was almost like watching the Family Feud, and you had that one family member.
Well, they worked well together
points.
for part. I mean, just the double suicide dive off of opposite ring ropes, and then outside to the opponents. Just this was a great looking match. By the enhancement talent, looked great. Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch looked average at best.
Yes.
Until they won.
Yeah.
Spoiler, they won. They won with their I don't even know if they named the move.
Inverted implant DDT. High angle implant DDT. I think it's what Nigel called it. Pretty much just almost like a suplex type.
They take them from a DDT,
Yeah,
throw
DDT.
the legs up on the shoulders of one of them. I can't tell the difference. They both shave their heads and they wear different colored tights.
Burch, I believe.
And then
Burch is the one came down, so it's Lorcan.
So drops them on a high angle DDT that kind of rolls, and it doesn't look as impressive as most ground based DDTs.
If they're going to be a tag team to be reckoned with and whatnot, I believe they need a stronger finisher. There's a lot of setup involved for this one. But it needs something flashy and quick because they're actually two very quick individuals.
I think the problem with this is that it's not a move that you need your tag team partner for. You could just as easily do this off of the corner turnbuckle.
Yeah.
So, just a thought, maybe a move that takes both of them to do.
Like a 3D.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong with the 3D. That's got to be, I think you've said it's one of the best, if not the best, tag team finisher.
Yeah, because it's quick, it's efficient, and it's a just power move.
No, I tell you, one of the moves that I thought of to challenge that was just a play off of the move was the Shatter Machine.
Yeah.
It's just a code breaker off of the same setup. That setup is great for tag team wrestling.
Yeah.
Just that flapjack into fill in the blank.
Yes.
Flapjack into a diamond cutter, and you call it the 3D.
Yeah.
Anyway, this was a great match that, honestly, I don't know if there was...
We have to talk about that one spot in the match where Carrillo came off with the shooting star press only to, I think, what was it, like a drop kick to the face? I want to say...
No, he went for a moonsault.
The double boot from Oni Lorcan.
Yeah, he goes up to the top rope for a moonsault, and he comes off, and you know he's going to get blocked because when he comes off, he goes almost into a standing position. But this looked really brutal. Lorcan put his legs up, and it looked like he honestly caught him in the jaw.
I could have sworn it was a shooting star press because he got some mad air on it.
No, it was a moonsault. Trust me.
Okay.
It was mad air for sure,
yeah.
And that's another reason why these guys look great. I thought enhancement talent. I mean, they came out and their graphic on the Tron had one guy's last name with a / and the other guy's last name.
Mm-hmm.
So
we're so familiar with them losing that we had to go back to our notes. Like, have we seen them lose before?
Yeah, we saw one of them lose before.
Yeah, we saw Carrillo lose to Riker on his Riker's
their re-debut as the Forgotten Sons.
Yeah,
before their triple threat or triple 6-man tag match,
which also had a whole bunch of enhancement talent in it.
So honestly, this match probably should have ended with the enhancement talent winning somehow because they look great. They should have rode that momentum and called an audible, been like, have them roll you up or something. Like, let's have them win and then have this match again. And maybe showcase Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch in the match, and not have the two luchadors look so fucking awesome.
I think it would have been like also an awesome way to kind of separate the two of Lorcan and Burch. That way, Burch could focus more on the NXT UK since he's going to seemingly going to be a singles competitor over there.
But they've got a lot of intertwining people going between UK and NXT, and even on Evolution, and so I'm on the fence about that. I just think that as a tag team, Lorcan and Burch, at least in this match, kind of look boring.
Yeah.
And really, the enhancement talent, and I got to look at their names, Mendoza and Carrillo, look great, and I think they should have called an audible and been like, look, we don't have enough time, because I paused it. We had like 6 minutes left.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we don't have enough time for this match to go on any longer, but we need to do this again and make Lorcan and Burch look good.
Yeah.
Because these guys, again, Mendoza and Carrillo saved the final match of the night. Because, yeah, this was the last match of the night. There was no main event of the War Raiders versus the Undisputed Era members, Adam Cole and Bobby Fish. That did not happen.
Yeah, we go to Cole, like pretty much we go to the Undisputed Era, going backstage in their usual area, just trash talking. The three of the members sitting in front, Adam Cole, their leader, standing in the back, looking all cool and superior, and he's talking about how they're at 100%. Then all of a sudden, you see
whoa. They're going into a typical style Undisputed Era promo where the four of them are standing underneath that scaffolding that's in an arch or whatever, and they're talking smack. We have 5 minutes left in this show, and right now I'm pissed.
Yes.
For two reasons. One, we're not going to get to see this match. I wanted to see this match. I wanted to see Bobby Fish back in the ring, and I wanted to see how well he wrestled with Adam Cole, especially against the War Raiders. So I know we're not going to see this match. But the second reason is the General's 5-star rating for the main event of the show. We have set a precedent.
Yes.
At this point, this is the main event of the show, and it's going to be an interview.
Yeah.
And, of course, it's not going to be a 5-minute interview, so something's going to happen. And we know that it's going to end in the ring with a certain group of people in the ring, which pisses me off again later, but we'll get into that. So stay tuned if you want to see me pissed off again. But this is pissing me off because I wanted to see this match.
It's going to be about 3 minutes from now because right after, Cole starts talking, all of a sudden, arm comes out of nowhere from behind him.
This was funny,
and and pulls.
What the hell?
He goes, "What the hell?" And like, next thing you know, the War Raiders are attacking the Undisputed Era. Not just Bobby Fish and Adam Cole.
Snatched Adam Cole through the curtain that's behind him in this little fucking gimmick setup. Snatched him.
Like, we'll go ahead and go with the Halloween theme. It was almost like watching Freddy Krueger's claw come up and pull Johnny Depp into the bed in Nightmare on Elm Street Part 1.
Yeah, it was a good spot. And from here we have the War Raiders basically take out Strong and Riley.
Yeah.
To the point to where they can kind of isolate Adam Cole and Bobby Fish, and they start forcing them out of this room into like the outside of Full Sail, where there's like these shops that are closed down, and it kind of looks like a movie set until
it looked like a theater area, but then we start seeing the trucks
and tops of buildings and shit, and it's like it's just dark out, and the lighting makes it look like a movie set.
It looked fantastic as well.
They're fighting in like this picnic area, like it's an outside. Like there's these shops that probably sell food, and here's where you could sit and eat. It's like a food court, outside food court.
Well, they filmed it at Full Sail University.
Yeah, so they got to have a place to eat lunch, I guess.
Chances are we're in the quad. Okay,
we're in the quad. Yeah,
they are throwing down in the quad,
throwing hands, throwing trash cans. We had Bobby Fish finally gets up, or not Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly finally gets up, makes his way out, and starts leveling the playing field with a trash can. And then, so now we see the Undisputed Era take over, and it's 4-on-2. For a minute, it's 4-on-2. Then it's 4-on-3, because we see Ricochet come out of fucking nowhere.
Yes.
Like he's like flying off of a truck or some shit, I don't know. I blinked and I missed it, but suddenly there's Ricochet, and he's starting to even the odds again, and because he's got the element of surprise, and he's fresh. And for that, now we see it start to move towards the ring.
Yes.
Somehow, by coincidence, they all go in different areas. All three of them. I guess somebody's got two of them going.
Yeah.
And somehow they all just make it to the ring, into Full Sail, into the arena. And now they're all in the ring. And who was it? Bobby Fish. Yep. Finally thinks, oh yeah, what worked before to even the odds?
Steel chair.
Well, it was a trash can, something. So he grabs a steel chair. He takes it to the leg of Hanson.
Yep.
Hanson. Hanson's got the hair.
Hanson has hair. Triple H.
Hanson has hair. That's how we're going to remember it from now on. So he takes a chair to the leg of Hanson, and now the Undisputed Era is back on top because they still have the numbers game, 4-on-3. So naturally, what happens?
Pete Dunne.
Well, Pete Dunne comes out and he's got a chair. He's going to even the odds.
First thing he does is makes my hand sting because he's walking past Adam Cole and just slams the chair into Adam Cole's hands, and after that, Adam Cole is just on the ground holding his hand the rest of the time.
So this is just brawl from. I think he throws the chair at somebody. I think it's Roderick Strong was running up the rampway at him. He just takes him out and then gets in the ring. And now we have, of course, the baby faces standing tall in the ring. And this is where we started the show for us.
Yeah.
It's kind of like my experience with that movie. What was the one with Jack Black where he saw his girlfriend that was obese as thin.
Oh, Shallow Hal.
Shallow Hal. Yeah, I somehow we showed up at the theater at the wrong time and ended up watching the end of the movie and then stayed and watched the movie as a whole.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was kind of a spoiler, but we weren't necessarily sure about it, and I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to speculate about it. I just wanted to watch the show because I knew I was going to get pissed. So we've got these four in the ring, and we've got the four heels in Undisputed Era on the outside. And then who shows up? William Regal.
Mm-hmm.
And he makes the match that a lot of people have speculated in.
Say it.
Somebody in one of our chat or one of the chat rooms or the message boards,
comment section
in one of our NXT shows or what's NXT? What's NXT? They speculated, and it's going to be not just speculation. William Regal makes the match. You guys aren't going to do it here, not like this. You are going to do it in War Games.
Yes.
So War Games has officially been announced.
I saw Stephane's world come apart at that moment.
If this is your first experience with what's NXT, and you don't know my problem with this, let me lay it out for you. This is the second War Games under the NXT brand, the second War Games under the WWE umbrella, and they are already changing the format of the match.
Yes.
They slightly changed it for the original one from what WCW did. They made it their own, which is fine for your first one, and that's how you do it. They have changed the 3-on-3
from what
on
I
3.
gather, it worked.
Yeah, it was great. It was a great match, but they changed the 3-on-3 on 3 to a 4-on-4. And I don't mind that you're taking one extra person out of the ring because you still got 4, and not rings. And that's my problem. Is it turns War Games from the idea of this type of match the way it is, and it turns it into just a gimmick. It's just now 2 rings with a cage big enough to enclose them.
Yeah.
And I don't like that. That would be fine for the 3rd or 4th or maybe 4th or 5th War Games to change up the format. But you did it on your second one. Give me a fucking break.
Yeah. Well, basically, I'm more a fan of steel cage matches to keep people out of the ring versus keep people in it. But at the same time, it's like all the combatants that are going to be in the ring there will be no interference in this match because nobody's going to come help the Undisputed Era, naturally. And
I'm not a fan of changing the War Games concept into a War Games gimmick. Yeah. And now it's just the double cage.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, it would be fine if that's all that it was in conception, but fuck, I'm not a fan of it. And I'll say it right now, that immediately takes a full fucking star off of whatever the fuck I rate this main event. Because that just bums me out. And if you disagree, leave it in the comments. Convince me that it's fine. But for me, it's not. So that leads me to the General's 5-star rating. General Slaughter. I think this is probably the first time I'm going to say it like that. General Slaughter. That's what we've been building to.
Yeah.
The General Jerry Slaughter. It's just funny. It's General Slaughter. And it makes sense because it's wrestling. Give us a break.
Yeah.
We're taking all the good puns that we can and milking the shit out of them. Again, join us for a spot of NXT tomorrow. So, in the General's 5-star rating, where do you give this main event segment?
Well, see, here's the thing. It wasn't a match. It was a segment.
But that's fine. We've had segments that have been good.
And I think it's the first time we've actually had more or less a segment be the main event.
Well, last week
we had the reveal.
Yeah, but it was great. It was great, so it wasn't a problem. This was disappointing from the get-go because we thought we were going to get this great tag team match.
I think the execution of it, like the way it launched right into the street fight, I was like, oh, it pretty much was a street fight. But now I'm going to start calling it throwing hands in the quad because I think they're going to be using that quad a lot now. Because that was actually a very beautifully shot for a street fight.
Yeah,
but
that is true.
I'm probably going to give it about 2.5. Because all it really did was set up the match for War Games, which, like, even if the subscriber, whoever made the comment, we were already discussing this. This
is the first time I've even looked at it from that angle, that it was all to set up the match for War Games.
Yeah.
And that pisses me off even more.
Yeah.
Why tease a great tag team match that's... And if it's going to be the main event, even if it is a 5-minute match, you know it's going to be fucking fabulous. Even if it ends with the Undisputed Era coming in and messing it all up with a disqualification, you know for 5 minutes you're going to get a really good match. Yeah. Why tease that to... Oh, fuck. I guess it's a different way to do it, but fuck.
Here's my mentality about the match. Even before I knew it was going to be, like, you know... not even 4 minutes long, seemingly. I already had in my mind that the Undisputed Era, the rest of them, were going to interfere. Because Bobby Fish and Adam Cole are not a tag team. They're part of a faction, yes, but they are not a tag team. The War Raiders, they're a tag team. The Street Profits, they're a tag team. We had our tag team match.
Well, I would say Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly are a tag team.
Oh, Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly, yes, they're a definite tag team. They're established in the Ring of Honor and everything, but Bobby Fish and Adam Cole are not a tag team.
Well, no, but they're still great.
Oh yeah, but they're but as I've also said, Adam Cole is a singles competitor.
So you think maybe that's the reason that it was Adam Cole instead of Kyle O'Reilly next to Bobby Fish coming back?
Yes.
Maybe it softens the blow. Okay.
Yeah.
If that was the intent to soften the blow that we're not going to get that match, then I'll give him a little credit.
Yeah.
And I'll bring it up 1/4 of a star.
Yeah.
I'm going to give this 2 1/4 stars.
Okay. I was about to say, like, I didn't expect you to give it any more than 3.
For what it was average. I'd call average 3 stars, 2.5, 3 stars, and to be generous, and then take off a full star for the fact that it oh god.
But
anyway,
but anybody that's been watching from where we started, what's NXT, could actually see this kind of coming, because we had we have Adam, because we already had Ricochet and Pete and Dunn just getting some sort of almost like mutual respect through their matches. So you knew that was going to play a factor into something somehow. They weren't going to let that go, and they needed a 4th person. They needed that 4th person to combat everything that was going on. So Dunn was actually going to be naturally it. I didn't see him defending the belt at TakeOver. I saw him being in this match automatically. But it's just watching it get solidified. Granted, there was that feeling of satisfaction of being right, but there's that dissatisfaction of being right.
I would much rather have seen Pete Dunne come out with Mustache Mountain.
Yeah.
And attack everybody.
And
then force either Undisputed Era to figure out somebody to leave out of the match, or force the War Raiders and Ricochet and Pete Dunne and Mustache Mountain to each find a 4th person.
I think if anything, they probably would have just left Bobby Fish out of the match, because that's the other thing. I don't think Bobby Fish is completely recovered. I think
he's ready.
I think they needed to have him rest up a little more. That's why he turned into a street fight.
Well, I guess especially if your first match back is going to be War Games.
Yeah, and you don't want to be A, showing a lot of ring rest, and B, re-aggravating any injury that he's still may be going through.
And don't get me wrong, I have high expectations for this War Games match, and I have confidence in all 8 guys that are going in to fulfill those high expectations. But there is that slight doubt with Fish. And so, yeah, saving him... Of course, this was taped weeks ago, so... Yeah, you're saving him an extra month or 2 to heal up even more before his first match back. And so that's fine, but in the end, it's setting up a change in format to War Games, and I am dead set against that. I would much rather it stay 3-on-3, even if you had a 4th person to each team. But that's just how I feel, and that took away a star, and I stand by 2 1/4. This is the 2nd week in a row that they have ended NXT with a non-wrestling match.
Yeah.
And there's no way it could live up to the reveal.
Oh, no. There's just no...
And for me personally, it ends with creating a 4-on-4 instead of a 3-on-3-on-3.
Yeah.
So, 2 1/4.
Yep.
So, if you're still with us, this gentleman gives it 2.5. I give it 2 1/4. And that was the main event. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, you can go to nodq.com/Stefan, or you can look me up on Twitter, Stefan R. Osborne, Osborne. Go to nodq.com for all of your latest news on the upcoming Crown Jewel on Friday, the upcoming Survivor Series, I believe in like 3.5 weeks, which is going to be in LA, and there will be a NoDQ meetup if you are in the LA area and you want to go. Go to nodq.com/LA and you can RSVP. You'll get to meet Aaron. You'll get to meet Jeff Meacham. I think Cindy's going to be there. I'm not for sure about that. I know there's going to be several NoDQ personalities that are going to be there. So if you want to meet them, definitely go. Other than that, again, help me get this guy a Twitter so he's got something to plug. Because we're not going to plug his or my Facebook, because I like my Facebook to be generally wrestling free, so I don't get spoiled at work when wrestling is on. So, catch us tomorrow night for our NXT party, where we will have our special guest. Hopefully that'll be a recurring thing. We'll have a third person on every week. Tomorrow it will be Cindy G. And I don't know if we'll keep the Halloween theme or not. I think I'm going to leave that up to her. If she wants to keep it, we will.
Yeah.
Other than that, I am the Wizard of No DQ, of course, Stephen Osborne. That's No DQ right there. As always, joined by the General, Jerry Slaughter. And that was What's NXT for this week for Halloween, October 31st. And we'll see you NXT time.